G'day TBU fans, and welcome back once again to top 5 plays of the week. This week we are going to be looking at the week 3 battles, so without further ado, let's get started. Coming in at number 5, we once again have the Spec Sylveon in the match between the Welshons and the New York Shelmets. So, Frida proving 2 weeks in a row that he knows how to use the Spec Sylveon, he managed to take out a weakened Klefki and a Megazord X. So, he switched it in on the Jolteon. Supergas switched it out, fearing it to be scarfed, and switched into his Klefki, which the Sylveon managed to take out. He then brought in his Megazord X, which the Sylveon managed to do a lot of damage to the first turn, and then after it went for a Dragon Dance, take a +1 Earthquake. So, while Frida did not manage to continue this momentum and win him the match, it still put him in a very advantageous position and was definitely had a big effect on the match. Going in at number 4, we have Sworddance Mienshao in the match between the Bristol Beedoops and the Live Wurmple FC. So Richie was in quite the pickle by the time he got his Mienshao in against the Milotic, with all of his mons taking a lot of damage, or being fainted aside from his Mienshao. So he went for an SD in a hope to salvage the match, and while he wasn't able to come back for a victory, he managed to turn a 5-0 to a 2-0. So after setting up a Sworddance on the Milotic, which went for a cover, he managed to take out the Milotic, the Mega Latias, as well as the Conqueror. Now, while as I just said, he could not come back to win the match, it changed the differential by 3 or 2, as he managed to take out some of the biggest threats on Eric's team. Coming in at number 3, we have yet another thing from the Bristol Beedoops and the Live Wurmple FC. This time we have the defensive Mega Latias, which was a perfect counter to the Victini. So we all know that Victini is a massive threat, and what better way to counter it than a mon that resists almost every single move it gets, aside from U-turn. And that is exactly what Eric did. Every time the Victini came in, the Latias soon followed. And this eventually led Eric to take down the Victini through Toxic and Stealth Rocks. So this was fairly big. While it was only designed to take on one mon, it managed to defeat it, as well as doing heavy damage to the Zapdos with the Toxic. And that is why it deserves to be number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have the late game Chandelure sweep for the Slateport Vale in the match between them and the St. Louis Chattots. So, eventually after a hard-fought battle, it ended up down to a 3-3. And if you ask me, Squirtaclia was in the less advantageous position. However, after getting up a Flame Charge and a Calm Mind, he managed to get 3 kills with the Chandelure, winning him the match. Now, as I said earlier, I feel that Squirtaclia was in the worst position, and this set managed to bring him back, taking down the Amoonguss, the Togekiss, as well as the Mega Altaria. I think it's pretty obvious why this is number 2. Coming in at number 1, we basically have the Hazard stack in the match between the New York Shelmets and the Welshons. So, after coming off the Spec Sylveon from play number 5 this week, Supergas was not looking too good. However, the Stealth Rocks and Spikes combined managed to take out the Sylveon, which was the one mon remaining on Frido's team at the end of the match, so would have been able to take out the combination of Alomomola and Donphan. Now, while the Donphan may have been able to kill the Sylveon with an Ice Shard and the Alomomola could have lived, there is a chance that neither of that could have happened, as a Spec Sylveon can one-shot an Alomomola, and potentially, depending on its HP, it may have been able to take an Ice Shard. Nonetheless, the added pressure from Spikes and Stealth Rocks definitely affected Frido, as well as taking out the Sylveon at the end of the match. And that is why it is at number 1. Those are my top 5 plays of week 3. So tell me yours in the comments section below, as well as telling me why I'm wrong, because that is much more interesting than agreeing with me. And with that, that is the end of the top 5 plays of the week. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week.